Good morning and happy, well, it's not Wednesday, it's Thursday. I couldn't get my video out yesterday. I was ready, but I don't know if you can hear it in the background. We've got folks working on our driveway out there. And so I was very much involved in our driveway getting work done yesterday, and so I didn't get a chance to work on this. But I've got a huge amount of stuff that I did do. And I've got some problems that I'm encountering while doing this, so we're just going to walk through them. So the first thing is take a look at this. I have placed, I don't know, I built up the grass, and I'm super happy with it. I took a long time, like I'd say the second half of Tuesday, and did just this. It took a long time because, and I filmed everything, so I'm going to show that in my upcoming video, how to do the grass that I did. And when you do this much, I think you learn a good little bit about it. And so I want to share with you what I learned about it. So that's one of the things I'm doing. Placement was one thing, color mixing was the other. The kind of grasses in differences that I was hoping to get, I didn't really realize. I do have different colors, but they look pretty much the same. Not bad, just the same. So yeah, I'm working on it, and frankly, it does look like the terrain that I'm trying to match. So I'm pretty happy with it. I got this much done on that side, which was the main part. I've still got a little bit here. I have not hit this yet, and there's some fun things that are coming up there. We're going to talk about those in a second. Didn't hit this really much. I did do a little bit here and a little bit there and there, but I have not finished. So I'm going to be concentrating on these areas, there and there, a little bit more here, along here. I'm not 100% sure what's going to go here yet. There's details there already, but there's this thing where, you're trying to really highlight something, and it's going to land just about here. The chuck wagon, that Bob Harris built chuck wagon, just a beautiful thing. And that's going to go right about there. So having nothing here is not a bad idea, but it's got to look right. So, and the density that I have here would not lend to that. So there has to be something extra here. So yeah, that's done. I got to concentrate on this next. And then the second thing that I did was I put these in. These are little sticks. And in fact, what they are is roots. We had a tree come down, and I pulled all these off. So these are fir tree roots. And they're actually pretty good. They're somewhat flexible. They don't snap right away like some stuff when it gets dry and old. And I've had these for about 3 years. And so they're nice and dry. I did no kind of processing except washing. So I did wash these when I first got them. So when I use these, I just take out, some of them. And some is really, really small, which is perfect. Sorry, let me get a better deal there. Some are really, really small, which is great for scale work. Some are pretty large, so that's almost like a log in scale, or a large, thick branch. So what I'll do is I'll take those, and I will use a little bit of Mod Podge and a little bit of water, and I'll dunk them in that. Because what happens with these things is if I don't put anything on them that's coating them, they can continue to kind of break down. Now, like I said, these are holding up pretty good, but they're not in open air. They're not getting dust on them. They're not, nothing's really happening to them. So they're doing okay in here. But once you get them out here and exposed, I like to basically seal them in with the Mod Podge. So just by dunking it in there, that typically allows enough that it will also glue in place where I set it. Once it's done, then I come back and using paints, and this is the paint I'm using. It's really pretty much a deck tan, but it's acrylic, and but it's mixed. I mixed that. And so I'm using that to then paint each of those, and it gives them a really nice, sun-bleached look. That bone color makes it look very sun-bleached, and it's been out there. And that's, again, in accordance with the reference pictures I've taken. Or I haven't taken them, actually. Bob took them, and then there's some that I found online. So that one has not been painted yet. That's what it looks like after the Mod Podge dries. It's almost a little shiny. And then once I paint it, it goes completely flat and has that nice color. Now, I told you earlier, I've got some issues. And the biggest issue I have right now is this. This is a stick. It's just great stick that I found, and I think it's part of a root system. I found it in the yard a couple of years ago and washed it up and have been holding on to it. But it's just this wonderful stick. Now, it was broken but not separated, and I just separated it, took it apart, and then had it in this little container. And as a matter of fact, it was 4 pieces before I mounted it on here. So after I mounted it on here, I've got it embedded into the groundwork and the substrate here. So it's not moving. And I got stuff built up around it. But I think it needs the same treatment as this. And that's where I'm finding a little trepidation. If I got to do that, number one, if I just paint it, because I have not dunked this one. This one has not been dunked in Mod Podge. So I just paint it. I'm not going to get the same, coloration, texture, how the paint reacts to the material. I have a higher chance of, matching this to these sticks if I paint it first. So that means I've got to do a painting of Mod Podge over this whole thing. And, it's not that big a deal, but I got to make sure I hit everywhere. And I don't want to get Mod Podge necessarily on the other things. It can draw some of these grass, little blades of grass together. A wet Mod Podge, a thin Mod Podge will do that. And thin Mod Podge is exactly what I get put on that. So anyway, that's something that's coming up. I got to do that today, because it is my hope today that I can finish this, because not finish it, but just finish this part of it, this phase, because I've got a lot more to do on it, number one, but I also need to get a video together. Today is my editing day. This is the first of my editing days. And so I'll probably use parts of this, this members only video. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get that video out. So I'm gonna work on this, shoot the video and edit pretty much at the same today, and then tomorrow I'll be able to edit all day. But I'm loving it. Now, in conversations, because I'm building this for Bob Harris, the model builder, and one of the things we had in conversation on this, because we consult a couple of times a week, and here, there's some open area that I haven't put grass to yet. And one of the things that we like to think about is, details that add history, details that add more to the story, not just maybe the present, but maybe something that happened in the past. And the significance of it and stuff like that, you can assign, but to give you the clue for that event, we discussed that for right here. And I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but we're going to have something in here. And it's just a simple thing that will add a little bit more depth, a little bit more, hey, what does that signify? Or what does that mean? Or why is that right there? Those are some of the fun things that, you can put in a diorama to just make it so that it's fun and engaging for those people that do find it interesting from afar. I've talked about this scenario before. Somebody sees it from afar, and then they come a little bit closer, then they see more details, and those details draw them in further, and then those details don't break down, so that, and they still look great, and then that reveals even deeper details. And so that's the kind of thing that we're constantly, thinking about in designing and executing a diorama. how do we build engagement? How do we build interest? Man, I got to get this thing to refocus. Sorry. How do we make sure that the little story or the little scenario or the little vignette that you're trying to put together comes across in the way that you want it to come across? All that is just part of diorama building, because it's not just putting some fun stuff on board. It really is trying to construct something that tells a story. Whether it's just the story of the land, just the story of this big curve, whatever it is, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give that as much visual interest and depth as possible. And not just physically, but also because of the storytelling, you know, the different elements that you add to it, these questions that you as the observer watch or observe and then think about to yourself. That's part of the narrative you're trying to, you know, you're trying to build. You're trying to give someone an anchor to have an imaginative thought when you build a diorama. And that's a beautiful thing. So anyway, I don't want to go just waxing on about the beauty of dioramas, though I could do it for a while. I hope you have a great day. We'll see ya.